So my next news is, well, it's kind of a thing that is now news to me because I didn't realize that. I said earlier.
I hope I can break your heart and tell you, man, I've known this for like 2 years.
Oh, yeah, I mean, you probably. I mean, it's a superhero topic. So
oh my
probably.
Oh my god! Oh my
god! Well, okay, like I said, I've been on a horror movie kick recently. So tying in worlds here, the news is pictures were released from the first day on set of the new Aquaman movie.
Yeah, that just started
and
filming.
What I didn't realize, that is directed by
James Wan.
What I would consider to be a horror director,
James Wan.
And I've always admired his cinematography and his vision for horror movies. I think he really does, like, probably the best horror movies of, like, this decade. Or, like, I really think I'm such a fan of his horror movies. I think it can compete with, like, the golden age of horror movies. So, seeing that he's directing
like Abbott and Costello?
Yeah.
The Mummy?
Absolutely.
Or
The Mummy's CGI, that's... I hope we can live up to that someday. But,
Are you a fan of his producing is he like Spielberg, where he directs great?
You mean
producer, not so much.
James Wan? Absolutely. Because he'd produced some horror movies that he didn't direct. Like, there's some spin-offs. There's one, Annabelle, which is a spin-off of The Conjuring. It's terrible. But The Conjuring is one of the greatest horror movies, like modern horror movies, I would say. It is one of the most critically acclaimed horror movies that came out in, like, the past 10 years at least. And,
Aquaman starts filming.
Yeah, so, yeah, it's very weird for me to see him directing Aquaman, which is like, I mean, I really want to see Aquaman directed by James Wan. That's so fascinating to me. And he's also one of probably the most ragged on superheroes. How do you feel about Aquaman? Because
I remember a lot of people for Aquaman super friends. But if you ever watch the Bruce Timm Justice League cartoon, oh my god. It's basically like Thor but cooler. That's basically what This is a guy who, like, has to protect. He's like a king, and he's got to protect his Atlantis from the surface world. And I really got into Aquaman starting when they did the DC reboot, the New 52. I bought, like, issue 1 of Aquaman by Jeff Johns, one of my favorite comic writers. And I really liked it, and, yeah, but for me, whenever the thing that got me into Aquaman was the Justice League. They had him as a guest star on a two-parter, and they might do it for the movie. They have it where you see... So there was a time in the comics where he wasn't the Super Friends. He kind of looked like Momoa, where... Jason Momoa, who plays Aquaman. He had, like, long hair, beard, and a hook for a hand. And I believe it was in the comics, somehow a shark ate his hand. But they did this great moment where his brother Orm, who was trying to take the throne from him, because Aquaman's father... I'm sorry to spoil it. I'll try not to spoil the story for you, but it's been around for 75 years.
It's fine. If a story's been around for 75 years, it can be spoiled.
But the story is that Aquaman's father was like... I believe he was something for a lighthouse. Like a lighthouse keeper.
A lighthouse guy.
You know
how there's like a lighthouse guy.
He was the original Green Lantern.
Yeah, they don't make lighthouse guys the way they used to.
Man, that's the working title for Green Lantern, lighthouse guy.
Oh man.
But his father was from the surface world. His mother was from Atlantis. They fell in love. And for some reason, I don't remember exactly, because it's been told over and over, so it obviously changes every 10 years. But she had to go back to Atlantis. He's had to stay on the surface world and raised Arthur on his own, Arthur Curry's Aquaman. And then I believe it was his mom dies, and then people from Atlantis come to Arthur saying, you're supposed to be the king, but Orm wants to be the king, and then there's this big... It really is kind of like Thor, but cooler.
Yeah.
He doesn't have that
Interesting
Shakespearean
look
talk.
on it. Interesting look on it.
Yeah, I remember people asked me, could you do an Aquaman movie? I said, yes. If you can do a Thor movie, you can do an Aquaman movie. And I like Thor. I think Aquaman is... Look, if we're going by the Super Friends, Batman. Batman who smiles and feeds Scooby-Doo.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and I like Super Friends Batman.
Yeah.
But, the characters have changed, and I'm going to be honest about this Aquaman movie. Now, before I say this, let me say this. I'm a DC Extended Universe fan. I like Batman vs. Superman more than most people. I like 2 out of the 3 movies, and I like the first hour of Man of Steel. I'm surprised this movie's happening.
Yeah.
Because I felt like, look, Warner Bros. Was very confident in Batman vs. Superman. The problem that Batman vs. Superman had was they gave Zack Snyder the freedom to do whatever he wanted. And what did he do? He made a 3-hour movie that was R-rated. So they had to edit it down to 2.5 and change the rating PG-13. That made it so the story did not flow well. And then, so Batman vs. Superman did not perform the way Warner Bros. Wanted to. And one of the things that DC fans always had was Ben Affleck will direct Batman. Ben Affleck will direct Batman. I don't know if you noticed, Ben Affleck's not directing Batman anymore.
Yeah.
And I took that to assume that Affleck was done. He did not. I assumed that he would be quitting Batman because of look, he went through this with Daredevil. He said he didn't want to ever be a superhero again. And then he became Batman, and he's one of my favorite Batman actors of all time. And I hope he stays on, but I don't think he will. I assumed that when Affleck said he was going to leave, here's the thing. They messed up Superman. And the Henry Cavill Superman, they messed him up. He's not Superman, he's Moat Man. Batman is the one who works in this universe. So Batman is the one character people are excited about. You butchered Superman. People are excited about The Flash because of the Grant Gustin TV show. Mm-hmm. We have yet to see Wonder Woman, so hopefully that one will be great. But really, right now, you have your big two, Batman and Superman. They screwed up Superman. No one cares about Superman anymore. People aren't excited for Henry Cavill's Superman. They're excited for Tyler Hoechlin's Superman as Supergirl. Why? Because that character actually acts like Superman. Not to get on this rant or whatever. But they messed up Batman. Batman's the one character everyone's excited for. I mean, except for The Flash, but that's because of the TV show. And I assume Affleck was done, and so Warner Brothers was just like, hey, look, Zack Snyder's still directing Justice League. Will it make $1 billion? Probably not. Will it have great reviews? Look, I like Batman vs. Superman more than most people, but I'm not most people. Will it have Batman vs. Superman reviews? Probably. It probably won't make $1 billion, so probably what will happen is Justice League won't have the Avengers money that Warner Brothers wanted. So I assumed that they kind of knew Justice League was kind of not be what they wanted to. Although they're trying to clearly change stuff. Like, from what I heard, if they hadn't spent so much money on Justice League, it would have been canceled. But because they put so much money in it, they still had to go through with Zack Snyder directing. And remember, I like Batman vs. Superman more than most people did. I actually give the Ultimate a 9 out of 10. But I assumed that it was a little bit like Affleck was probably not going to be Batman anymore. Even though they say it is, but remember, we also thought we were going to have Spider-Man 4. We also thought we were going to have Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man 3.
Right.
So, I assumed it meant he was done, and Warner Brothers was just going to say, hey, look, we screwed up. Let's start over with a new Batman 2021, and then we'll do a Superman, and we won't try to do the Christopher Nolan thing anymore. Look, it worked for the first 2 Christopher Nolan Batman movies. It worked. That time has changed. People, and I thought that they were going to reboot it and try to kind of capture, try to make the ultimate version instead of just some director's version of the character. But I'm surprised that this Aquaman movie is filming.
Yeah, I'm also, pouring a ton of money and into, like, when DC movies haven't been performing well or reviewed that well, it's surprising that they went to Aquaman, I guess was my kind of thought. Yeah, so you think, I wonder, though, if Wonder Woman's probably, obviously, coming out before Aquaman. I wonder if that performing well, that being reviewed well, will help the DC Universe movies in the future.
I think it all relies on Justice League, to be honest. They want this because of the Avengers. And look, remember what I talked about earlier about how you gotta make this almost like if it was the only Justice League, the only Wonder Woman movie?
Yeah.
They did that with the Avengers. Guess what? Superman's gone in this movie, probably for the first 2/3. So, oh god, did I spoil the movie for you?
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's not even really a big spoiler, but you know what? Spoiler alert. To the
Superman died. I didn't cry, but he died.
Everyone dies, even Superman.
Yeah.
Can we talk about? Can this be a somber death podcast?
Superman. He got stabbed, and then he died.
He's in the big unknown now.
And then Batman looked at him and was like, "I guess you're not evil." But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Look, I want this universe to succeed. Like, I loved the Ben Affleck version of Batman. I know a lot of people were disappointed that he killed, but I mean, here's the thing about him killing versus Superman killing Man of Steel. Batman, their cars blew up versus Superman snapping Zod's neck. I mean, it's collateral damage, I guess. I mean, he did the same thing in Dark Knight Rises.
Right.
We try to forget about that
true.
movie, but remember at the end with that terrible death?
Yeah, that was confusing to say the least. I've only seen it once though, so have you seen it more than once?
I've tried. Once a year I'll try to be like, man, this is the time I'm finally gonna like it.
See, I have a weird thing. This is just kind of my little problem, if we can have just a therapy session right now. I feel like I really just don't analyze movies enough the first time I watch them, and I find that I almost can't really hate a movie. Like, first of all, like, unless it's absolute and complete and utter garbage. If it's like a mainstream, high-budget movie that they tried to make appealing, I have a hard time hating stuff. Like, I'm barely thinking about it. So, because I saw The Dark Knight Rises once, that's probably why I kind of was alright with it.
I saw it 3 times in theaters, thinking, man, this will be the time. It's like the one movie where I'm just like, I hate this so much. Look, I know people, I hate it. I hate it so much. And it's rare because, guess what? No, never mind. Okay, whatever. I love 60s Batman. I love Joel Schumacher's Batman. I hate this movie. I hate it so much.
Rolling up the sleeves. Is that a thing that people say when people are
I don't know.
letting it off the cuff? I
hate it so much.
That's the phrase.
Maybe we'll cut this scene out. I don't know.
Yeah, we can do editing, and if you hear this, it
got leaked.
We didn't do editing.
Got leaked like Sony. So Aquaman.
Yeah, I think that's.
I'm hoping it will be good.
Yeah, I mean, if James Wan is as good of a director as I think he is, I think he seems like the kind of guy who only works on stuff he really cares about, because he could have, like, been doing, like, tons and tons and tons of spin-offs and sequels himself, but every time some other, like, he clearly wants to make money, so he, like, or he clearly wants to have his IPs, like, out there and produced by other directors, but it seems like, just with how bad these spin-offs seem, it seems like when his hand is in it, he's directing, he really, really cares about it. And again, I should say, I don't really know anything about him except that I've seen his movies, and I know that he pretty much across the board, as far as, I think if I were to list all of his movies, I think it's Saw, just the first one, which most people would say is the only good one.
I haven't seen any of his movies.
Yeah, and then Insidious 2, I think. I don't know if he's directed all the Insidiouses, but there's like 3 at this point. The Conjuring and The Conjuring 2. and this upcoming Aquaman one. And I think all of his movies are good, or at least have heart in them, because it seems like he cares about them. So even if they're not that critically reviewed well, which I believe Insidious 2 wasn't, he really cares about the universe, and he puts in his cinematography, the way he directs it is, I think, incredible. So I'm excited to see a non-horror movie, and that a superhero movie, one that's probably going to be hopefully for DC, a blockbuster superhero movie done by him.
And the unfortunate thing is, let's say Aquaman is a success. If Justice League isn't a success, that kind of might end.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Money can change anything. If Justice League makes $1 billion, they're going to keep going with this universe. And look, I want this universe to succeed. I've said so many times, Ben Affleck, I love that version of Batman so much. They, I like Batman vs. Superman more people. I like Suicide Squad minus the Joker, but they could fix it. They could fix that.
Yeah.
But, I liked the DC universe. I want to succeed. I like 2 out of 3 movies, so hopefully Justice League will get not critical acclaim, but we'd love that. But get good reviews, $1 billion, and then they can keep this franchise going. Maybe, hopefully, Affleck will change his mind. All it takes is one movie, make good reviews. I mean, he's already gotten acclaim from Batman.
Right.
First portrayal of Batman. It's no longer like it now is. The conversation is now, who's better, Keaton or Affleck? We're not going to answer that, but you can yourself.
We're not here to answer questions.
No.
That's what Yahoo answers
exactly.
for.